self-service restaurant having a very enjoyable meal, when in the midst of it all you have to grapple into your wife's handbag to retrieve one of these, which is a glucagon injection, and I'll speak about it. Go to your wife who's sitting at the table dressed in her vest, her refinery, and start to rip her clothes off so you can stick this great big needle into her stomach, because there's not much fat on Margaret, while you're having your dinner, and keep smiling at the restaurant staff and the other patrons who are around you. I've done that several times. Have you ever been in a shopping centre doing your weekly grocery shopping and you've got your trolley full of all the things that you want, and you're heading for the checkout counter when your phone rings and you answer it? You know it's come from your wife, but there's no message, no conversation, and you know she's in strife. So you leave your shopping trolley wherever it is, go to the car park, get in the car, drive home responsibly but quickly, thinking all the way home, what am I going to find when I open that door? Yeah, sometimes it wasn't a pretty sight. Have you ever been in an aeroplane when you're just about to land and you know that your wife is having a major hypo? So you produce this very large syringe and you stick it into your wife while the lady who's sitting beside her is almost dying from the sight of what you're doing. Have you ever woken up in the early hours of the morning to discover that your wife is twitching, or she's just lying there absolutely soaking wet, lying still, eyes open, unable to communicate? That's when I used to have to do a blood sugar test to prove that what I knew was happening to her was correct. And also because I knew her doctor would want to know what the reading was. And he doesn't know how many times I thought at 2:30 in the morning, I'm going to bloody ring him and tell him. So it was a matter then of giving this injection, which is not a simple thing. It contains a liquid and it contains a powder. So you have to mix the two, shake it up, and then inject it. We used to keep them in the fridge just to make them last a bit longer. So I was very adept at sticking under my armpit to bring it up to room temperature. And then most times it was a matter of flipping Margaret over so I could inject her in a fatty part of her body. And I learnt to flip her over very well, because in those days at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning you could watch World Championship Wrestling. So having injected her, then I would just wait and I would do some more blood tests while reading a book and sitting in the bed hoping that she would recover. And then when I was satisfied that her sugar level had risen to a safe time, I would go to sleep, and then we'd get up next morning and we'd get dressed and go to work. And Margaret would discover the box, we called it our orange box, beside the bed. She didn't know what happened. That happened time and time and time again, sometimes 3 times in a week. These little things used to cost $40 each. As a pensioner now I get them for $6.40. Margaret's school was about 10 minutes away from the school where I was teaching. It was the way that we organised things. So I would drive to my school, she would do her fingerprint. If the level was okay, she would drive the 10 minutes down the road to her school. Sometimes I would get a message from my administrative staff to say, you need to go to Margaret's school. I would have to borrow the car from the principal, drive safely and carefully down to her school, knowing full well what I was facing, go into the staff room, give Margaret her injection, wait a few minutes, and then return to my school and my class and go on teaching as if nothing had happened for the rest of the day. Margaret referred to the time when she went to the hospital. That was a phone call I got. They rang me at school. They said, she's gone to hospital. They can't get a sugar result. We don't even know why she's still alive. That's a good thing to have in your brain while you're driving to the hospital to visit your wife. So things became very difficult. We gave away lots of tickets to movies. We declined lots of invitations to dinners. Holiday times were planned around when it was safe for Margaret to travel, the hours of the day that might fit in with her meal times. And every time we went somewhere, I was always to find where the nearest hospital was. It was not too far away. I was always on call. But that's just not my story. That's the story of anyone who cares for someone who's lost their awareness. The effects were on our children. They understood that their mother was ill. Our grandchildren wondered why Grandma couldn't look after them. The children that Margaret taught were concerned about her. Her work colleagues were very supportive, but also concerned about her. Our wider family, my brothers, her friends, her relatives, were constantly asking how she was going. There were occasions when I had to ask for help from strangers to assist her when she was ill. There needs to be a whole community of people that help these kind of diabetics. Toby Coates is on my speed dial. I can't even get an appointment with my own GP for 2 months. I can ring Toby Coates any time of the day or night and he'll answer me. He works passionately and collaboratively with his colleagues in developing new strategies that's going to improve the lives of people with diabetes. He's a smart man. I know that because he's a Port Power supporter as well. Over the years that Margaret has been in these programs, I've learned a lot about diabetes. I suffer from it myself now, but I've got the naughty kind. And discovered that the research advances are enormous, and I do think we're very close to a cure. There are 3 little girls in the school in Barmera where I teach, Sarah, Danielle and Jessica. They are lovely girls. Jessie's a spirited little one. That's a school teacher talk for a child who's naughty. But much of Jessica's problems are related to her diabetes. These little girls line up daily, twice daily, to have their sugar tested. They do it in the front office. I used to go along with them and talk to them, and then I used to take my own machine and do a test until I discovered quite consistently that my tests were worse than theirs. So I didn't take the machine anymore. These are little primary school children, the youngest is 8. I wonder, what will their lives be when they reach their 20s. In the Christian calendar today, it's recognised as All Saints' Day. It celebrates ordinary people who did extraordinary things. Medical research is about ordinary people doing extraordinary things. How appropriate it is to have this luncheon on this day. Sarah, Daniel and Jessica deserve an extraordinary life. Medical research will provide this.
Really very exciting new treatments that are coming. And hopefully with stem cell based research, all of the things that we're doing with islets, we hope that we'll get to a point where we will be able to, patients be able to generate their own insulin secreting tissue, potentially in a 3D printed matrix, and then be transplanted back into them without the need to take drugs. So that's the sort of, if you like, the long-term goal. But to get there, we have to do these first steps, and people like Margaret, who are so generous and willing to take a complete leap into the dark, to undergo a treatment that's never been done before in the state, but happy to do that, are trailblazers, and enable the rest of us to follow along and do good new things. So really people like Margaret are quite exceptional.
The Hospital Research Foundation is supporting us to do this sort of translational stuff that has real human impact. So for Margaret.
Wow. My life changed within a couple of days. And I remember I was still pretty doped up and wired for sound actually in hospital. And Toby came in on the second day and he said, "Mark, you've got CPAP time." Wow. I think it was 68, which is not enough, for anything really. It's not enough to keep your sugar on an even keel. But for the first time in 36 years, my islets were producing CPAP. And I'll never forget that. And I thought, I've got to tell Kerry as soon as he comes in. Well, Kerry walked in and said, "Oh no, Toby texted me." He knew before I did.
I usually do.
But my whole life has changed. I can do what I want now. We went overseas. We weren't allowed, or I wasn't allowed. So we had 2 trips overseas in the 1 year, and that was just incredible. Toby gave me his travel agent's car and said, "Go book a trip." So we did.
I didn't pay for it. I was going
It cost me a fortune. It's well worth it.
The girl's still coming. But I went back teaching within 6 weeks of the first transplant. But only contracts. I didn't go back to full-time work. No thanks. But I could drive. I could make an appointment with a meeting with a friend and say, "Hey, let's go for coffee," knowing full well that I was going to get there and that I was going to do the driving. So thanks to Toby and the team, I can do what I want.